I was going to play Dinny O'Brien's reel, but then Eileen played it. We'll get something else anyway. Maybe quickly a little word on Galligan, on Dr. Galligan, which is great that they have this concert every year and keep it going, because he was really a great man and a passionate man in the early years of Comhaltas. And he did Trojan work. He was into Comhaltas at a national level very, very early. And he went round the country to the Flas, as they were at that time, bringing with him Margaret O'Reilly and Seamus Fay. And they went everywhere, and it was great. And as I say, into it in the early years, and at that time there was just one Fleadh in the year, the All-Ireland Fleadh. And whoever was president of Comhaltas, well, the Fleadh would then be in his area. So Galligan became president of Comhaltas in the first couple of years, and he brought the All-Ireland Fleadh to Cavan in 1954. And the passion that he had and the going that he was like a going concern. I heard people saying someone who's going, he's a going concern. Well, Galligan was a going concern, and he really built up branches of Comhaltas all over County Cavan, and then further afield in the Midlands and that. He went everywhere, and he promoted Comhaltas and organised, and we even had a branch of Comhaltas in Kilcogie that time, and that would have been because of Galligan at the time. But just briefly, like the vision that he had and the first that he had, as I say, he brought the All-Ireland Fleadh to Cavan in 1954. And that was just all the Fleadhs that would be. But it was a great success. And Galligan decided, let's do it again next year, we'll do the county. So he held a county Fleadh in Virginia in 1955. And that was the first ever county Fleadh. And after a lot of years, other counties started having a county Fleadh. And then it grew and it went on. And I think it was around 1960, he had a Fleadh in Cavan, and he made it an Ulster Fleadh. And that was the first ever Ulster Fleadh in Cavan in 1960. And I think about 2 years later, Connacht followed, and they had a Fleadh. And then later, the other provinces came in, and they became into being such a thing as a provincial Fleadh. But Galligan was first with the county Fleadh, and he was first with the provincial Fleadhs. Great organiser, great, and a great little doctor as well. When you'd have an old cold and you'd be at a session, I'll tell you, you'd get cured. Anyway, I'll start with a couple of reels. The Maids of Castlebar and the Millennium Cherry House reel. couple of jigs. These are just little jig that Cotleen made, and we called it Moan Wee Bog, because we lived up among in the middle of Moan Wee Bog. We were in the big long bog road, and when we were young we cut turf and we reared them and we brought them home with the ass and cart, and we done all those kind of things. And when we were going to school we could take off the shoes and walk across the bog in the bare feet. And so we said we'd try and remember the name, and I was always very happy to assure anybody who ever said it was from the bog that it actually was. So that was that, and I put after it a little version of Podgin or Rafferty. It's a 4-part version of the tune that Mick Smith used to play, Mick Terry Smith. So we'll keep it local and play that and remember Mick there. Mick was a great old whistle player. And just a little bit of a little tune I played before it, a little fling called Scutcher in the Heather, which I learned from Ellen Riley. Ellen was lived close to us, and she learned the fiddle from Terry Smith, who I learned from later on, but she learned from Terry, and she married up into Mina, and she was Ellen Coyle up in Mina, but she was a grand wee fiddle player. But Ellen died a couple of years ago, but we had the opportunity to talk to her and interview her and that, and she was in her mid-80s, and her mind was as clear as day, and she knew the genealogy of every family in the locality, and she could tell you who was older than who and what they were like and all of that. She had a marvellous head. But she got this, I got this little scutcher in the header from her, and Johnny Maguire used to play it also, and he called it Handsome Sally. But scutcher in the header, scutchers I think go back to the time of the flax growing. They were scutchers for helping to process the flax. And it was, I don't know what it was, but it was a job anyway in the saving of flax. There was scutching, and the people who done that were scutchers. And Eddie Clark used to sing a song, The Scutchers of Murmod. Murmod is just outside Virginia, there where he came from. So the scutchers, I think it comes from the flat. Now maybe you might think it means something entirely different. So, but anyway, scutchers in the heather, a little fling, and we'll do the 2 jigs after it.